Welcome to the Business of Life podcast. Don't let fear and disengagement dictate the way you run your business or your life. Revolutionize the way things are done. Innovate, affect change, find your purpose. Friends, welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. Today, I've got a very interesting episode for you. I'm interviewing Jesse Cole. He's the founder of Fans First Entertainment, the author of the book Find Your Yellow Tux, and the owner of the baseball team, the Savannah Bananas. This guy does things differently. I honestly don't know anyone who's trying to change a very well-established industry. He is going up against professional baseball, and he's trying to change everything from how the teams run to how the game's experienced by its fans. If you've ever wanted to try something new, but you don't know how to navigate those uncharted territories and you're worried about the pushback you'll get and how to go about actually doing something that's completely different, then you'll love listening to this guy. I implore you, get his book, Find Your Yellow Tux. You'll be inspired by how he just does everything differently. He goes against the status quo. His life is all about doing things uniquely and finding your yellow tux, which you'll get to know if you read the book. So follow us on his journey here. We're going to talk through how he got into it, how things got started, the troubles he's faced, how he's navigated tough times, and the lessons he's drawn out from it. I hope you enjoy it, and please welcome with me, Jesse Cole.
I am fired up and pumped to be with you today, my friend.
Yeah, we are excited to have you. For those of you who don't know Jesse, I'm sure you will by the end of this. I honestly cannot think of anyone in the world of business at the moment who's in such a well-defined industry that's been around for so long and is completely breaking the status quo of how things are done. So I'm sure we're going to learn plenty of lessons that we should all take home today from Jesse. So get your pen and paper ready because words of wisdom are about to come. Just as we start, Jesse, I'd love to kind of you to give us the overview of how you kind of got on this path of, putting fans first and really changing up how things are done.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, fortunate now, it's easy to look past, but everyone says overnight success that we've been able to change the game and what we're doing. But 15 years of challenges, adversity. So I grew up as a baseball player, loved the game of baseball, ended up tearing my shoulder, ended my career. Just like that, I never play again. And I decided I'd work in the front office. And I took over one of the worst performing teams in the country in a little town in North Carolina. Only 200 fans coming to the games, $268 in the bank account, and the team had lost over $100,000 a year. And I realized that first day as a 23-year-old GM, and again, I got offered the job as a GM at 23. The only time anybody gets offered that job, it has to be the worst team in the entire country. That's the only reason I got that job. I took it over. Yeah, nothing to lose. I realized we baseball wasn't working, and I put myself in our fans' shoes. And for the listeners who don't know, we're not the major leagues. All right. We're not even like AAA top level minor league baseball. We're not AA. We're not regular A. We're not low A. We're not rookie ball. We're not independent baseball. We're not top level college baseball. We're at the bottom ring. We're literally college summer baseball. And it was that aha moment that I realized, why would we compete in a game that we can't be the best at? And why don't we play a game that we think we could be the best at? And so I realized right then to ask the question, what business are you in? But what business are you really in? And we weren't in the baseball business. If we wanted to really win and make a difference, we had to be in the entertainment business. And so that's when all the ideas started happening. Started coming up with let's have our players dance every game instead of just play. Let's have a grandma beauty pageant. Let's have a breakdancing first base coach. Let's have flatulence fun nights at the stadium where we give away whoopee cushions and have bean burrito eating contests. Let's have salute to underwear nights. We just started thinking all about entertainment.
Yeah.
And people started noticing. And so I really learned a lot my first 10 years with that little team in Gastonia before taking on that big venture in Savannah where we were able to launch our own brand and our own team. And that's where really the phenomenon, I guess, has started more than anything in Savannah.
Yeah, and that's, like that kind of context of, so many leagues below the major leagues and professional baseball, yet you're still managing to sell out your stadium. Who can really say that? So obviously you've cracked onto something that's completely right. And I love in your book and LinkedIn and things like that, I've seen you talk a lot about mirror moments and how you kind of use them. I'd love if you could just tell the people here that are listening how you kind of implement mirror moments in your business.
Yeah, I think so often that we get so into our business that we don't get to take a step back and reflect and really put ourselves in the customer's shoes. And I was able to do that when I first started at 23 because I kept getting no's. I'd call everyone and say, hey, do you want to come to our games? No. Do you want to come to our games? No, no. And finally I took a step back. I remember saying, I was like, there's something wrong here. And a mirror moment is what I mean is it's put yourself in your customer's shoes and ask, what are the biggest friction points? What are the biggest frustrations that your customers have? And do the exact opposite. As you know, for me, I believe whatever's normal, do the exact opposite because normal gets normal results and no one gets excited about normal. And so what we realized is that people weren't excited about baseball. So we had to say, baseball, it's too long, it's too slow, it's too boring. What are the problems in your industry? And not only, I just kept going from there. So I kept saying, all right, you get nickel and dimed when you go to a ballpark. This was a second mirror moment. And I said, paying $6 for a hot dog, $9 for a beer, $8 for this, that, it's ridiculous. Yeah. As a customer, I don't want to go through that. So we said, all right, let's do the exact opposite. Let's include all your food, all your soda, everything. And so we did all your burgers, your hot dogs, your chicken sandwiches, your soda, your water, your popcorn, your dessert, your cookies, everything for $15, including your ticket.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
And here's the key. And so we kept doing that. We kept, even this year, we just announced we created the first ever ad-free stadium. There's not one billboard advertisement in our entire ballpark. And we're the only team, I think, in the world that intentionally is doing that because I don't believe anyone wakes up in the morning and wants to be advertised to and wants to be sold and wants to be marketed to. And it's a mirror moment. So if you were to put yourself in your customer's shoes and say, all right, do I want to be treated this way? What are those frustrations? What are those friction points? And do the exact opposite. And we've had to do that every step of the way. And the day that we stop doing that is the day that we are no longer in business. So I challenge our people every day. What are we doing to break every friction point and make it frictionless?
Yeah, man, that must be such a humbling experience to put yourself into those shoes as well. And like, I mean, a lot of people, you have your blind spots and you don't really see them. And the first time someone points them out to you, it can be a bit of a shock to the guts, But when you're constantly doing it, I think it's such an important process to be able to really refine and improve what you do, is to be able to see what you're lacking, because you're not going to pick it up yourself, are you?
Well, it's very simple. Are you looking every day to how to bring in more revenue and more sales and extract value from your customers? Or are you every day looking how to create more value for your customers? It's a different conversation. And when you create more value, they reward you and take care of you. Yeah. And I didn't share. I mean, I learned this the hard way. When we came to Savannah, we were too scared. We were acting like everyone else when we first came in there. That was just 4 or 5 years ago. And the reality is we were marketing like everyone else. We were putting social media like everyone else. And we only sold 2 tickets in the first 3 months. It was bad. It gets so bad that in January of 2016, on a Friday at 4:45, I got a phone call that we overdrafted our account. We were completely out of money. And as you know, as I share this in the book, my wife turned to me and said, we have to sell our house. At that point, we sold our house, emptied our savings account, and we're sleeping on an airbed. And we had to go all in because we realized that was another aha moment, was like, we were too scared to go completely different and just go completely in our fans' shoes. We were trying to figure out, how do we bring in money? How do we bring in money? How do you create fans? And sometimes you have to do things a little differently to create fans. And so for us, we named the team after a fruit, and we became the Savannah Bananas, and we came up with a senior citizen dance team called the Banananas. We named our mascot Split. We came up with a male cheerleading team called the Mananas, but now they're just referred to as the Dad Bod Cheerleading Squad. We came up with the Banana Baby, the Banana Band, and we just kept going down this train to be a little bit different, unique, because we had to get their attention first before they could have the experience of coming to a game and seeing, wow, they aren't here just to take my money. They're here to give me an experience that I'll never forget. And that's what we had to learn. And that's why we went from 2 tickets to now selling out every game, because we completely put ourselves in our fans' shoes.
Yeah, that's incredible. And do you kind of, I guess for marketing purposes, is like your attention that you talk about, is that how you tend to market things? Just what can you do to get the attention of your fans type of thing? Is that how you usually get your brand out there?
I mean, think about this. Every company in the world, they have a marketing plan or they have a marketing department. But how many companies have an attention plan, an attention department? It's a different conversation. Marketing is kind of, which I'm not against, marketing can get customers, but it's the attention and the experience that creates fans. It's a different conversation. So you can market and put ads everywhere and you'll get customers. but what are you doing to actually get people talking about you? The best marketing in the world is it shareable? And you can tell right now, any company, do an audit of your social media. Go right now and look at your last 5 or 10 posts. How many shares were there? Not how many likes, how many shares were there? Because if they're sharing something from you, that means it's so much value. It adds currency, social currency to them, that they want to share and put their name on it.
Yeah.
Most times companies just say, buy this, buy this, buy that. And no one's going to share it unless that product or experience is so remarkable that it can provide value.
Yeah.
We don't spend any money on marketing. We don't spend any money at all on marketing. We spend our money on hiring a professional high fiver at our games who's a 6-year-old that high fives fans. We put our money into having a 20-piece pep band that plays every game. We put our money into the actual experience. So then people come in and say, this is unlike any baseball game I've ever seen. And they are doing the talking about us. And they have no other, they're not, we're not giving them incentives or paying the referral fees or, hey, if you bring in a member, I'll pay you this. No, we're just creating great experience that they want to tell everyone about. And that's the most powerful form of marketing.
100% agree with that. That's amazing. It's just such an organic growth as well. And, people breed people that want to do the same things. If you're speaking to their needs of what they want, they're going to know other people that have the same type of needs, and they'll tell them the solution that you're giving them. So absolute winner.
Well, it says people trust. I just said people trust a recommendation from a friend or family member. 92% I trust more of that than an ad from any single ad that a company puts out. Yet we have advertising budgets. Yet we have marketing budgets. But we don't have experience budgets. There's a difference there. And I challenge every company to start looking, what are you doing to create experience? Not what are you doing just to yell from the top of a mountain, come buy my product.
Yeah.
There's too much noise.
It's so true as well. And you can see like the shift in the market over the last few decades. It used to be like the real, I guess, product-focused companies tend to do really well. And now over the last few decades, it's been the ones that are customer-focused are the ones that get ahead. Yeah. And the companies that, customers, the way they realize if you're focused on them or not is their experience of what happens when they're with your brand. And so if you're not putting any money or any attention into what they're actually getting experience-wise, then you're not really developing anything at all, are you? That's worthwhile.
Yeah. What are people saying about you? Just listen. What are they saying about you? And if they're not saying anything, you're in trouble. If you provide a fine experience, I've heard this from Shep Hyken, fine is the F-bomb of customer experience. Oh, it was just fine. Fine's actually terrible because no one talks about fine. You don't go home and say, how was the restaurant? Oh, it was so fine. Like, you just don't say it. You say it was extraordinary. It was amazing. It was delicious. It was unbelievable. Or you say fine or nothing. How do you not just create a fine experience? You have to look at every touch point.
Oh, it's so true. And I think when I always think about it, for some reason, coffee houses are the ones that come to mind. They just irritate the crap out of me. So
why? Why is that?
Oh, they all seem to make, it's like such a uniform experience, There's so many now, the hipster coffee shops with the same coffee blends, the same prices, the stores set up exactly the same.
Yeah.
And nothing's memorable about the experience whatsoever. Yeah. And I'm always saying, we live in a world of reviews, right? TripAdvisor, everyone wants to see 5 stars. Yes. 3 stars, no one's getting out of bed for 3 stars.
Good luck. Hannon, the toughest question that any company can ask themselves, and it's so simple, but it's so tough and it's so hard to answer. What makes you different? And if a company right now listening, write that down. What makes you different? And if your answer isn't so compelling that you want to share with a bunch of people, that you're passionate about sharing it, if your people, your customers, and your employees, your team members aren't passionate about sharing that answer, you're in trouble. Because you could say you have the best product in the world, but right now, people aren't talking about it because it's not a difference. If you want to make a difference, you got to share your differences. And that's why we started with dancing players, breakdancing first base coach, senior citizen dance team, the pep band. We have a professional wrestler we hired this year to be in our dugout as a coach. We keep going with these characters because we want people to say, wow, you wouldn't believe what happened at the ballpark. So what makes you different? And I'm very intrigued to see what these answers. And different isn't just better. It isn't, I'm a little faster, a little cheaper, I'm more affordable. Different is only. What are you the only one doing in your industry? If you can be the only, good luck. You might not have to market again because everyone will be talking about you.
Yeah, too true indeed. And to what kind of degree then do you kind of give your employees responsibility to help enact that vision to really, try and do things that are different or create that fans first experience?
Well, you could have, I think what we've learned, and again, we've had lots of challenges, struggles, kind of finding out who we were. I mean, to give you an example, the name of our company before was Team Cole & Associates. It was like a law firm or an accounting office. It was terrible. It was a terrible name. And finally, I was like, no, let's name the company what we do and what we stand for. So we named the company Fans First Entertainment. And we named it, and our mission became Fans First, Entertain Always. And every decision we made, we asked, is it fans first? And we had our fans first way as our core beliefs. And we developed that. And, that all goes under the umbrella of what are we trying to do? We're trying to change the game. We're changing the game. It's not just change the game. We're constantly changing the game. And what's the game in your industry? How are you changing it? Because if you're staying the same or like things have always been, you're in trouble. The game of baseball, it's still too long, too slow, too boring. All right. Fans still aren't having the best experience. There's a barrier between the players and the fans. It's not done the right way. We want to change the way the game's watched, the way the game's played, and the way fans interact with it. And what that means is that gives complete autonomy to our staff to say, all right, how can we change on how it's watched? How can we change and make the Bananas have a 24/7 experience and have fans interact with the brand and make decisions of what happens during games and have players mic'd up and actually create a Bananas Netflix, which we're doing right now, Bananas Insider, which fans can literally, I think it's going to be $5 a month that they can literally tune in and watch behind the scenes with our players and shows in the locker rooms. And we're going to have content that's coming out year round. It's asking that question because right now, baseball game, you watch the players play from the same viewpoints as everyone else, and then they disappear. You might see an interview.
Yeah.
That's changing the game. So when you have the clarity of why we do what we do, to bring people together in a unique way, change the game, fans first, entertain always, the staff now knows, well, is that changing the game? Is that fans first? Or is that like everyone else does? And that's why we don't learn from people in our industry. We learn from people outside of our industry. That's where we get the best inspiration.
That's brilliant. I mean, you must have a phenomenal employee retention rate with the amount of kind of engagement that everyone would get knowing that they're contributing to the overall mission of you and what you're
100%.
doing.
It's funny. I always wanted 100%, and then I realized that wasn't best. So it was interesting. We had zero turnover our first 3 years. And to give you an idea, we have all millennials on our staff. And so
that's incredible.
people under 30 years old, the stats are out. They leave a job every 13 months. Now the complete workforce leaves a job every 2.2 years. So I was like, we're doing pretty good. But then I realized, no, that's not best because our number one goal and fans first means we want our people, our teammates, our team members to be the biggest fans of the company. We want to put them first. We want to love our people more than we love our customers. And with that being said, if there's an opportunity where they can't grow and we're holding them back, we want them to leave. That's why we have them do a future resume. So we don't just have a regular resume. We ask them for a future resume when we hire them because we want to know not what they want, not what they've done in the past, but what they want to do in the future. And if someone wants to have the same position with us for 5 or 10 years, that doesn't show growth. That doesn't show hungry. It doesn't show wanting to change what they're doing in the industry. We would question that. So to an extent, we actually advocate what's best for our people. So if they have 3 great years with us and they have a big opportunity, something else, I hope you take it. I hope you don't stay here and hold yourself back. That's not good leadership. And I make sure our team is kind of following that the best we can.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And for you as well, like the mirror moments, do you have them in how you're leading your workforce as well? Like how often do you get that kind of looking at what you're doing and being like it kind of sounds like you had one with that. The first 3 years, there was no turnover. And then you're like, well, actually, we want the best for our employees as well. So people are probably going to have to leave onto different things if they're going to grow as well. How often do you kind of have those mirror moments in your own leadership?
I'm so fortunate to have so many mentors. We pride ourselves in what I learned is that when I first started, I was so in the business. And I was doing everything, and I shouldn't have been. I was doing the operations and putting signs up and fixing things around the ballpark, and I am a terrible handyman, and we were just wasting time, all right? I'm not the best hirer, and I mean that it's kind of crazy. What do you mean you're not the best at hiring? Well, if you know good entrepreneurs, they're also very optimistic, and they see the best in things, and they see the opportunity and everything. And I'll be like, oh, well, they don't have that, and that, but she could be great there. I'm going to hire her. And that's how most entrepreneurs are. I've heard this before. Many entrepreneurs shouldn't be doing all the hiring. They should have people that can see everything black and white better. So anyways, I realized that I shouldn't be doing a lot of that stuff, and I stepped away. And now I spend more than 50% of my time writing, reading, reflecting, and thinking about the vision and the big picture of the team. Since I've been able to do that, we have worked so much faster and been moving in a direction that I've never seen because we are so not in it. We're working on it.
Yeah.
And Google had it right where they give people time to work on their own things. We need to evolve to a company that gives all of our people 50% of their time to work on the bigger picture. And
Wow.
then that inspires action. Because, not just handling calls and sellout games and all that. That's great. What's next? What is that next big picture? What's that thing we're chasing? That inspires even more. And if they're in the weeds every single day, it's exhausting and it wears people out. And what I've learned is I challenge everyone on our team to do an energy list. Not write down the things they like and the things they don't like. Write down the things that give them energy. And it was about 2 years ago that I came to this. I was like, some days I'm wiped out. We've all been there. I'm just like, whew, I'm exhausted. And I'm a guy that's in a yellow tuxedo that's all about energy. But some days I was wiped out. And other days I'm like, I could go 6 more hours of work. I could work till 2, 3 in the morning. And I started writing down, looking at my calendar. What was I doing the days that I was full of energy, the days that I wasn't full of energy?
Yeah.
And I broke it down to 3 categories for me. It was whenever I'm creating, sharing, or growing. And those fit in those 3 buckets: creating, whether I'm creating a new video, whether I'm writing something new, I'm putting something out there; sharing, right, like this on a podcast, or being on stage giving a keynote; and growing, whether I'm reading, I'm listening to a podcast. Those 3 areas, game over. I'll have energy all day. But when I'm doing things in the weeds or operations, I'm done. So I would, what's on your energy list, and let's start doing more of that. And you'll be so much better for everyone else you work with, and so much better for your company, and so much better for yourself, your family, everything. And that's what I've learned. That's been big for me.
Oh, so true indeed. So true. I'm wondering as well, you were talking about obviously, trying to change the industry and how it's done. And one thing I've always noticed, when there's something that's been a status quo and established for such a long time, it has a real tribe around it. And when you start to do things differently or try and move away from that certain tribe, you usually come up against a lot of resistance. Is that something that you've experienced?
If you're not getting criticized, it means you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I've learned we had to embrace criticism. If no one is challenging you, then you're not really challenging anything. So think about that, in the sense that when we came out with the Savannah Bananas, we were ridiculed like crazy. You guys are making a mockery of the game. You'll never sell a ticket. You're an embarrassment to the city. The owner should be thrown out of town. All right. We were ridiculed. When we created the first ad-free ballpark and threw away hundreds of thousands of dollars and literally took away all the ads, people in the industry were like, you guys are idiots. You won't last another season. You're going to have to raise all your ticket prices because you're going to be out of money. And we got ridiculed as well. But what we've learned is that that's part of also our attention plan. We're going to do things that we believe in. That decision to eliminate ads is one of the easiest decisions we've ever made. On the outside, people think, how do you throw away hundreds of thousands of dollars and make that an easy decision? Well, for us, we realize we're not playing the short-term profit game. We're playing the long-term fan game. And it will hurt us short-term, but we've already seen this in the 6 months since the announcement. We have more fans reaching out to us and buying merchandise from all over the world, more fans signing up for our Bananas Insider 24/7 Bananas Netflix than we ever have, because of who we are and what we stand for, the fact that we're changing the game and we're not like everyone else.
Yeah.
If people don't know who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in, and if they think you're just like everyone else, you are, in fact, like everyone else. Yeah. So we've had to develop thick skin. It's tough. It hurts. Personal attacks. I'm in a yellow tuxedo. You should see the looks I get when I'm, out in town. People are like, this guy's crazy, but I'm okay. I'd rather be thought of as a little crazy, a little bit different than like everyone else. And I think it's a challenge. We've had some young interns that were introverts and they had to get out of that comfort zone. But now once they start they realize, wow, I didn't imagine that doing a rap to a fan on a phone to thank them for buying tickets, like they would laugh and they'd be okay with it. They wouldn't think I was ridiculous. And so we had to have people start doing those things. And it's such a great joy to watch people come out of their comfort zones and do things they never thought they could do, and to watch them grow. And just like you're doing different things and you've grown from one position to another position to now doing this. That's exciting. That's a journey mindset. We're about the journey, not just the destination, but you have to enjoy the journey and push yourself to challenge. And that's why criticism and challenges from other people, that fires me up. With the whole COVID thing, I was fired up. I was like, oh, all right, you're going to try to shut down our season? Bring it on. Let's do this. Try to shut us down. All right. We're going to get creative and we're going to do it in a way that we never done it before. And fans are going to love it. Yeah. But I think that's the mindset that I think is inspiring, that fires people up. You need leaders that bring on the challenge, bring on the criticism. You need a little fight in you. And if you don't have fight in you, good luck. Every day it's hard. It's not easy. You got to fight.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's such a thing, especially with I guess we've never lived in a time, right, where your life is so, or like the facade of your life is so easily accessible for other people to see, and you kind of curate this picture of what you want people to see. And I think a lot of the time people starting at the start of a venture will think to themselves, like compare against someone who's already there. Like, they might look at what you've done and be like, well, I should be there already, and not realize the struggle and like the persecution that you've gone through to get to where you're going. And so when they come up against it, they back off and they're like, well, maybe this isn't the right path then, because I'm experiencing such resistance. But I guess it's so encouraging to hear that, that's
embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace it. And it's embracing the criticism and hearing the criticism, but not letting it guide you in your decisions. And what I mean by that is we are sometimes paralyzed and blinded by what people think. And it's very easy. That's why we have something called groupthink. It's why in Amazon that they have the 2 pizza rule in meetings, that the people in a meeting can only be enough people that can eat 2 pizzas. If they need more food, we're not going to have that meeting. And it's because when you get so many people together, everyone goes to the middle, to where it's safe, because you want to feel like you're comfortable and you belong. But the safe never creates extraordinary results. And so we pride ourselves in saying, guys, we need to do things that scare us every day. If we're not doing it and it scares us, then what's the big deal? We're just iterating. We're not innovating. Yeah. And so that's what fires us up. It's like, what are we doing that we don't know the answers to? If you know the answers to what's going to happen, that's not innovation. It's just like, we're going to do it a little better. You shouldn't know the answers, and that should fire you up. And it's not for everybody. And people, we interviewed everyone on our staff and said, who should not work for our company? And everyone said the same exact answer. Wow. People who can't deal with change.
Yeah.
Because we've been changing nonstop since we started. And again, if we're talking about our big goal out there is to changing the game of baseball, changing the industry, changing the way people have fan experience, then if you can't deal with change, you're not going to fit well in our organization. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, man, that's so true as well. And it's such a good thing. Like, I imagine there's no way if you're innovating and changing, you're definitely going to be failing a lot of times. Do you have any good memorable failures that you've had when you've, ideas you've tried to put forward that, or like things that you've tried that haven't gone well?
Geez. Salute to Underwear Night. I think 200 people showed up and 100 of them wore underwear on the outside, and it was the most unfamily friendly night we've ever done. Fans were like, this is disgusting. The world's largest tickets, our team in Gastonia, we made tickets the size of giant movie posters. Fans are like, what are we supposed to do with these? We can't even put these in our pocketbook. We can't put them in our pocket. We can't do anything with this. We did Living Piñata, where we actually had an intern in a turtle costume and had kids with little plastic bats hit them while they're throwing candy in the air. It was, we'll not do that again. And then a bigger picture, we did a bunch of events. We did Tap in the Morning Beer Festival, whereas a beer festival, it starts at 9 a.m. because you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. All right. We did that one. I think only a couple hundred people showed up. The thing is, we get asked that question a lot. What are the failures? What are the failures? We don't think that way, because the people that have the most successes are always focused on their next at bat. What's next? They move right past it. And I love that I can't remember our hundreds of failures, because I just moved right past it and what's next. And if you're not testing things and experimenting things and trying things on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, if you do have a failure, it'll cripple your business. But if you're constantly having things that you're doing, it doesn't matter. I'm not a big baseball fan, as you know. I played baseball, but I'm more of a circus guy that likes to put on a show and have fun. But I do know this. The major league player that had the most hits, had more hits than any player ever, had also 2,000 more bats than any other player to play the game. Pete Rose had 4,192 hits, and he had 2,000 more bats than everyone else. If you want to have more hits, you got to come up to bat more. Yeah. And I think that's the key.
Mate, well, thank you so much for your time, Jesse. There is plenty to take home for everyone there. That was inspirational, mate. Thank you very much. It was a true pleasure to have you.
No, pleasure. Fun to be with you, my man.
Thanks for watching. If you want to join the revolution, follow and subscribe here. And if you want to revolutionize the way your business and your life is run, then contact us to find out more about our consulting and coaching packages. You can contact us via email, admin@hustonconsultants.co.uk.